YouTube was good too. So, Mr. Daddy, today we have the wicked story of Brittanee Drexel. You know, we watch the crime shit, so seeing this here, it's a nice little 22-minute long video. So, get right into it, man.
This surveillance footage captures Brittanee Drexel, a 17-year-old young woman, as she casually leaves a hotel in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where she had gone to spend her spring.
Crazy. Most of these are like white girls that have these that hit the big news and or have like a big story. We rarely see one of any other race.
Break with her friends in 2009, but little did anyone know at the time this would be the last footage ever captured in 2009. But little did any.
If it's not him, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna just give my little guess. This is him.
Anyone know at the time this would be the last footage ever captured of Brittanee before she mysteriously disappeared. After over a decade of searching, false confessions, and dead ends, the case of Brittanee Drexel has long since been speculated over. As the years passed, theories grew wilder and more complex until 13 years after she was last seen alive, investigators were finally able to learn the devastating truth about her disappearance and realize the culprit had been right in front of them the whole time. Before we begin, we would like to extend our sincere condolences to the friends and loved ones of Brittanee Drexel, whose life was taken so tragically as the result of the events described in this case. On April 25, 2009, 17-year-old Brittanee Drexel traveled over 800 miles away from her home in Rochester, New York, to the popular South Carolina beach resort of Myrtle Beach. Having lied to her parents about where she was going and who she was going with, when Brittanee failed to respond to her boyfriend, John Greco, the alarm was raised. An investigation was launched, and detectives pored over CCTV and witness statements in an attempt to track down the 17-year-old's last movements. Brittanee had last been seen walking to a neighboring hotel a mile away, off to meet with a group of friends that she had made on the trip. Once at the hotel, Brittanee stayed for a few minutes until she got into an argument with one of the girls she had traveled with over a pair of shorts that she had borrowed. The 17-year-old was captured on CCTV exiting her friend's hotel and walking back to the Bar Harbor Hotel at 1010 North Ocean Boulevard. As she continued, Brittanee had texted John about the argument before she stopped replying shortly after 9:15 p.m. Authorities discovered her phone had been pinged and had traveled along Route 17 near the boundary between Georgetown County and Charleston County before abruptly stopping in a swampy area of the Santee River. The case amassed interest from around the globe. Brittanee's mother, Dawn Drexel, traveled to the area and spent days putting up posters where her daughter had last been seen and asking strangers on the street if they had any information about the 17-year-old.
It's been horrible because I don't know where she is. I don't know if she's alive. She left all her clothing, her hair stuff, everything. It's just not like Brittanee. Something's wrong.
However, with leads quickly drying up, the friends that she had traveled with faced the brunt of baseless accusations, and Brittanee's own mental state was called into question after her adopted father revealed that she had a history of depression.
Is there a possibility here that she just ran away?
No, I don't believe she just ran away. And she was going through a lot because my soon-to-be ex-husband, we were going through a divorce. So this has been very hard on her.
Unable to obtain evidence about where Brittanee could have disappeared, the case eventually went cold. But investigators continued to keep their eyes open for clues about what may have happened in this case. And 6 years after Brittanee disappeared on June 8, 2016, an informant who is currently serving a 25-year sentence for manslaughter approached the FBI with information that he said would help with the Brittanee Drexel case.
Horrifying new details about a New York teenager who disappeared from Myrtle Beach in 2009. Federal officials now say an inmate told them he witnessed Brittanee Drexel's sexual abuse inside a gang stash house. The inmate said the 17-year-old was then shot and killed. Her body then fed to alligators.
Inmate turned informant Taquan Brown claimed to have witnessed the murder of Brittanee Drexel. 2 days after Brittanee went missing on April the 27th, 2009, Taquan informed the FBI that he had gone to McClellan.
I'm right, bro. You gotta give me some type of award, bro. This case took 13 years, and I just seen one picture, and I pointed out.
South Carolina, at a stash house about 60 miles south of Myrtle Beach to pay a local heroin dealer named Sean.
We gotta just start judging people on how they look, bro. You see a nigga that look like that? Just stay away, do your own thing. I don't know what the picture is. Fuck. But y'all know what I'm talking about.
The 27th, 2009, Taquan
You see a nigga that look like this? Just stay away, bro. Y'all taking a picture. What is he looking at? And he got this little smirk, like, nah.
Informed the FBI.
He looked like a freaky ass nigga.
Timothy Deshawn Taylor, the drug bull heroin at a stash house about 60 miles south of Myrtle Beach to pay a local heroin dealer named Sean Taylor. Timothy Deshawn Taylor, the drug dealer's 16-year-old son, was one of the men who Taquan allegedly saw sexually assaulting a woman in the house who matched Brittanee Drexel's description. Taquan said that when Brittanee attempted to escape a few days later, the men shot and killed her, wrapping her body up and dumping it into an alligator-infested marsh not far from McClellanville, and also not far from where her phone was turned off. Although the area's alligator ponds were thoroughly inspected, authorities thought Taquan's account was too thorough to be disregarded. Police and the FBI turned their attention to Timothy Deshawn Taylor when the missing persons case was reframed as a murder probe. Timothy had committed an armed robbery at McDonald's in 2011 and had successfully completed an 18-month probationary term. Despite this, federal agents ultimately charged him with the same armed robbery to put him behind bars and to give them a chance to look into his relationship with Brittanee. Timothy told the police that he had never even met Taquan before and vehemently denied any involvement in the crime.
I may as well start with the obvious question. Did you kill Brittanee Drexel?
No, sir. I did not kill Brittanee Drexel.
Were you involved in the kidnapping of Brittanee Drexel?
No, sir, I was not.
Were you with Brittanee Drexel the night she disappeared in April of 2009?
No, sir.
I'm not sure who the administrator is who posts the comments, but the person who apparently has information, they say they have information, says there are witnesses who are not in jail, other than, I assume, this Taquan Brown, who have told them that they saw you with Brittanee. What do you think of that?
If there was witnesses, then they would have been brought to the attention and they would have highly spoke about it, but I'm pretty sure there's no witness. I know that there's no witness because I've never seen her and I've never been with her.
In March of 2018, Timothy consented to take a lie detector test to demonstrate this, but he failed. Months later, detectives concluded that Taquan's account had been nothing more than a false confession and dropped that line of inquiry. Instead, they focused on a suspect who they had not yet been able to rule out, Raymond Moody, a convicted child sex offender who had been released from prison in 2004 after serving a 21-year sentence. Since then, he had been suspected in a string of offenses after moving to Georgetown, including the 2005 disappearance of a 28-year-old mother, Crystal Souls, but he had never been formally charged. Detectives discovered that in April of 2009, Moody had been in the Myrtle Beach area with his girlfriend, Angel Vause. What's more, this wasn't the first time that police had heard his name in connection with this case. In 2011, Angel sat down with investigators and revealed that she was suspicious of her boyfriend having been involved with Brittanee's disappearance. Angel explained to investigators how she believed her boyfriend, Raymond Moody, could be a threat based on his previous convictions as a child sex offender.
I don't know, like I said, a few years have gone by, things, people, I know, people like that don't always change, I know that. And I know there's always that tendency that they can do it again. I know that.
But in spite of his previous offenses, Angel stayed with Moody as his girlfriend, and investigators spent the following years chasing down new leads and building a case against Raymond Moody.
Them motherfuckers better not have kids, boy. We're going to have to put them niggas in the damn jail off rip just to be watched over. Like, that shit's ridiculous.
Who was now a 76-year-old man. In 2021, an FBI task force was put together to investigate the case. Angel, now a nurse at the MUSC Medical Center, agreed to meet with the senior investigator, Hank Carrison, at the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office with 2 other FBI special agents and an intelligence analyst. During the interview, Angel is asked about the events of April 25, 2009, with investigators pushing her to reveal where she and Raymond had been that night. During the hours-long interview, Angel becomes distressed and walks out, upset at the accusations being thrown around. After being talked down by Carrison outside of the sheriff's office, Angel returns and begins to show her hand.
No, I would never hurt anybody.
What's the truth then?
I don't know the whole truth. I don't know who it was that night.
I believe you, Angel. I really do.
I really don't.
I do. I believe you right now. All we're looking for, we need your help, right? To piece this thing together.
I know.
I was not about to what my belief is it does depends upon the evidence.
With the agent's reassurance, Angel goes on to say how she remembers Raymond returning on April 26, 2009, with scratches on his face. She wasn't sure where he had gotten them from and had questioned him at the time if maybe she had caused them during some drunken fight.
I know for sure that he had my vehicle. He had asked me for it to trade vehicles, and I didn't ask why. Big deal. And then I do remember him calling me early in the day. And I was off, but I just didn't feel like, meeting him at that time. So I told him, yeah, I will meet you. So that evening I did meet him.
Down by the
Yes.
hotel by the lane,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And you traded vehicles.
Yes.
You took
I
what?
took my vehicle and
You took
he
your
got the red.
SUV?
Yes, and he got the red truck.
Angel told the investigators about how on April the 25th she had gotten off work early and met up with Moody to swap cars before going their separate ways. Detectives revealed that they had evidence to suggest that Angel's phone and credit card were placed at the Ocean Boulevard, North Myrtle Beach area around the time that Brittanee disappeared. Angel continued to deny being with Moody, but suggested that it was possible that her phone and card could have been in her truck, which Moody was driving. Angel also told investigators how, around 1 a.m., Raymond had left their home before returning about a half an hour later. Towards the end of the interview, Angel becomes more amenable, suggesting to the investigators that she could press Moody for information. She even went so far as to suggest bugging the house.
I don't know.
What do you think you'd say?
I was, in the beginning, I was very nervous about it. I really was, because I didn't know. And he won't say anything, So I didn't know. I still don't know. So does it make me nervous when people bring it up? Yes, it makes me nervous. Of course it does. Because I'm living with somebody who could have.
Right. If you asked him if he was involved, would that be different?
No, he said no. I can try to ask him, again. But first thing is going to be, he knows I'm here.
Right.
But he thinks I'm meeting for some other reason.
Yes.
First question is going to be, did they ask you about me? That's going to be his first question.
Okay.
He's real, he's suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me.
Still?
Always.
You had mentioned a bug. What is
Always.
Is that something you think would work? Is that something that you think you could do?
Oh, yeah, I can do it.
So how would he respond to any discussion of that if he saw it in the news?
No, he don't talk about it. Period. He don't talk about it.
After the interview was over, Angel returned home, and the FBI surveillance noticed suspicious activity in their home over the next few hours. Raymond was seen going in and out of the house, going through the car as if he was looking for something. Angel had suggested throughout the interview that she still had the phone that she was using at the time Brittanee disappeared. With Moody's unpredictable behavior, a warrant was used to search the residence the next day, and several electronic devices were seized, including 3 phones, 2 tablets, a disposable camera, and multiple assorted storage devices. Days later, on Wednesday, May the 4th, 2022, Raymond Moody met with the investigators. His story differed completely from the account that Angel had given them just days earlier. After 13 years, knowing evidence against him was piling up, he was ready to give a full confession.
The only person who ever told this story to is my lawyer. Angel never even knew the real story. She never knew. Anyway, when I was going down Ocean Boulevard, we were going along pretty slow driving. I was driving, and pretty walking speed, and I saw the Drexel girl walking along the sidewalk, and I was smoking pot. She noticed that, walked over to the door and said something about that smells like good weed. I said, yeah, you want some? Sure. Get in. She hopped right in the back, right a problem. And we smoked the weed, went down the boulevard, and we're just small talk. Angel's not really saying anything. But we're smoking the pot. And I said, hey, you want to party a little bit with us? We can get some cocaine, you know? She said, sure. So we started driving. We're just driving around, smoking, talking. And I went right into Georgetown, went right to a spot where we used to camp out down by the river. And we went down there, and when I was by myself with her, because Angel left for a while, she got to see her son. As things got out of hand, and I panicked, and she panicked, and I strangled her. And as things got, Angel left for a while, she got to see her son. As things got out of hand, and I panicked, and she,
What got out of hand?
and we went down there, and when I was by myself with her, because Angel left for a while, she got to see her son. As things got out of hand, and I panicked, and she panicked, and I strangled her.
Yeah, panicked, okay.
Knowing Angel would be back any minute, Moody told investigators how he had hidden her body in a boat landing. When Angel returned, she questioned Moody about where the 17-year-old had gone. Moody told her that she had been picked up by friends. Later that night, unable to sleep, Moody returned back to their campsite and buried her a short distance from where she was murdered.
Was her purse and her phone and stuff like that? Do you know where that's at? Are you able to tell us?
Oh, I got rid of that a long time
Did you
ago.
throw it on the woods, or do you recall what you did with her stuff?
Actually, I dropped it in the donation box at the Salvation Army Georgetown.
All of her stuff, the phone included, and her purse
Not
and her
the phone.
What'd you do with where'd the phone go?
I threw the phone in the river.
After his confession, Moody led investigators to the site where he claimed that he buried Brittanee all those years before. Moody took investigators through the scene, pointing out the spots that he had sexually assaulted the woman and murdered her. A search warrant for the property was issued, and investigators spent the next 2 days excavating the site. After his May 4th confession, the next day he sat down with investigators alongside his lawyer to give a full statement rehashing everything he had said the day before. Here, the detectives continue to push Moody.
When you buried her, was she in one piece? Was she in multiple pieces? Mm-hmm.
No, she was a full cat.
Okay. You said you didn't cause any extra injuries? No. Any broken bones? Or
No.
Okay.
Do you know how you did this? How you strangled her?
Good guy.
Well, there's a couple different ways. Obviously, you can strangle.
Nah, man, I didn't do that. Of course not. Like you're just a good guy. Shut your bitch ass up.
Somebody just like that.
There's nothing else that you might have kept, like the blanket might not have been kept. There's nothing else from that day. And she was when you transfer, she was in the back of your truck.
Yep.
Like in the bed.
Yep.
Wrapped in the blanket.
Yep.
Was
she bleeding at all?
5 days later, Angel appeared at the Georgetown County Sheriff's Office with her lawyer, where she gave a proffer statement, which could not be used against her in a court of law. Here, Angel changed her version of events that night to match what Moody had told investigators.
We're just here for the truth.
Okay.
And so as long as that's everything that's told today, we're good to go.
Okay.
So just go ahead, and I'll give you the opportunity. You just tell us what you remember about that time.
All right, me and him had went to the beach. We're in my vehicle, of course. We had smoked weed on the way up there while we were there, you know, stuff like that. Then afterwards, we rode down the boulevard. He hollers him out the window, what exactly said, I don't remember. She hollered something back, but couldn't hear. There's a lot of traffic. So he pulled up a little bit. He pulled over to a little parking lot on the side of the road. She walked over to the car. He spoke to her out the window, said something like, hey, you want to let's smoke some weed, do a line or two, you know, and she said yes. She got into the vehicle, came back towards Georgetown, really just smoking along the way, you know, stuff like that. Went down to the pole yard, walked around a little bit smoking. A little bit later, called my son, or he called me, I can't remember who called who, but he had the keys to the apartment. So I said I'll be back in a little while.
Angel, though changing her story under the safety of the proffer agreement, closely matched what Moody had told to investigators.
Like after you got to the apartment, what you did?
I went to bed because I've been drinking. Okay, so yeah, I went to bed, and I said I believe that he was up for a little bit, but I went to sleep. I did wake up later, and he was gone. But like I said before, that really is kind of normal. He was always an early person. He'd get up 4:30, 4 in the morning, and he'd be up. That was just his routine, which he still did to this day, you know.
With both accounts detailing how Moody had returned to the scene to bury Brittanee, a second search of the site was conducted, and soon they found what they were looking for. 4 feet beneath the dirt lay a nose ring, contact lenses, long hair, and a set of human remains. The remains were sent for forensic dental and DNA identification, and 2 days later, the Drexel family received the devastating news. It was Brittanee.
Authorities in South Carolina have recovered the long-missing remains of Brittanee Drexel, the 17-year-old New York girl who vanished while on a spring break trip to Myrtle Beach in 2009. Georgetown County Sheriff Carter Weaver announced on Monday during a press conference that Drexel's body was found on May 11th and that police have charged 62-year-old Raymond Moody with murder.
A press conference was held by police where they confirmed the remains that had been found had been identified as the missing teen.
Brittanee's mother, Dawn, and Chad, and Father John were promised that every resource would be used to find the answer of what happened to Brittanee, where did it happen, how did it happen, and why did it happen. The why may never be known or understood, but today, this task force can confidently answer the rest of those questions along with the who is responsible. The who is Raymond Douglas Moody. His date of birth is May the 9th of 1960, and he is a white male with an extensive sex offender criminal history. The Georgetown County Sheriff's Office charges against Mr. Raymond Moody are murder, kidnapping, criminal sexual conduct in the first degree. All of these charges occurring within the jurisdictional limits of Georgetown County, all of which occurred on April the 25th of 2009, and all of which detail Brittanee Drexel as the victim.
On October 19, 2022, Raymond Moody, who had waived his rights to a trial, pled guilty to all the charges and was sentenced to life in prison with an additional 2 consecutive terms of 30 years.
I don't have the words to express how horrible I feel.
Bro, it's been 13 years.
And I've felt ever since that day very, very sorry.
Before reading Moody's sentence, Judge Farrell Cothran Jr. said,
"We're all products of the decisions we make in life. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people give up their long-term happiness for immediate pleasure. And you gave up a lot of people's long-term happiness for your immediate pleasure."
In court, addressing Brittanee's family, Raymond Moody said, "I was a monster." Angel, who stood by Moody during the proceedings, has not yet faced charges of her own and to this day continues to work as a nurse. Today, Raymond Moody is being held in the Kirkland Correctional Institution in Richland County, South Carolina. He will never be released. If you found this story
13 fucking years. It took them 13 years. That is crazy, bro. Just for her to be buried right by where she died. Ridiculous. Let me know what y'all
compelling.
down below, man. I'm out this bitch. She just blew me.